Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday, our Way Forward Workshop Leader Lunch Break. We're pleased to welcome Michael Diemer to this afternoon's conversation. Michael is a lawyer, policy advocate, policy advisor, and always a thoughtful builder of community. He spent his early career in Columbus working in the state Senate with the Ohio Poverty Law Center as chief deputy to the Ohio Attorney General, and then at Governor Strickland. Finally, in early 2011, he saw the light and brought his considerable experience and talents to Cleveland to launch and then drive the work of Downtown Cleveland Alliance in business development. That job was the perfect blend of his passions for economic development, urban development, and public policy. In June of this year, the board rewarded his hard work and the impressive metrics he produced and announced him as their unanimous choice for president and CEO of DCA. He responded by committing to create a diverse, inclusive, global city, a welcoming beacon for talent where the downtown district and its surrounding neighborhoods become a seamless urban fabric. He wants a place that is place-based, walkable, and promotes transit-oriented development. If you heard him speak at the City Club, in the state of downtown, he summed up downtown during the pandemic with 6 words: resilience in the face of adversity. And Michael, we consider you a highly resilient leader and a proud LC alum, and we welcome you to the conversation.
Great. Well, thank you, Mary Ann, for the very kind introduction, and thank you to the Cleveland Leadership Center for the opportunity to present today and be part of the discussion. And thanks to all of you for taking the time to join the discussion and participate. This is a challenging time for our entire city, for downtown in particular, and we need all of your commitment to city building to move us forward. And I think your participation today is evidence of that commitment. So thank you. I thought what I would do with my very brief remarks today is share just a little bit about Downtown Cleveland Alliance in the context of leadership change that we're in, provide a little bit of an update about the state of the recovery, some of the things that we're doing to accelerate that recovery, but really try to spend the bulk of my prepared remarks focus on the future and our vision for downtown Cleveland and where we want to go coming out of the pandemic. As we all know, we're experiencing pretty remarkable leadership change in the community, not just at the Alliance, at our regional chamber, at Cleveland Neighborhood Progress in the 11th Congressional District. You know, probably the greatest manifestation of change was the mayoral election that occurred just a couple of weeks ago, and the election of Justin Bibb as mayor of the city of Cleveland, in addition to a number of new faces on city council. We'll have a new county executive next year. So it's an exciting time in Cleveland because we're not just experiencing leadership change, but really generational leadership change, a passing of the baton from the boomer generation to Generation X and the millennial generation. I think that creates a lot of exciting opportunities for the city. A lot of you may know Downtown Cleveland Alliance, but I want to emphasize, and I described us this way at the City Club, everything you really need to know about us is in those 3 words. We're very intentional about all 3 of those words. Downtown, by definition, we are a downtown organization. We're dedicated to attracting people, jobs, and investment to the core of the city. But we're not just about downtown. We're about Cleveland. We're a passionate team of city builders that wants to lift and connect the entire city. And we believe that's very much at the essence of what we do. In that word alliance, we also take very, very seriously. An alliance, by definition, is a network of strategic partners. And we know we can't do the work of city building alone. We need to work with business leaders, civic leaders, public officials, philanthropy, residents, businesses across the board to lift the city. And we work very hard to model that level of collaboration day in and day out. And I think the work that we've been doing over the last 6 months has, hopefully you can see the impact. For those of you who are spending time downtown, the recovery is, probably going a little bit more slowly than we had hoped at the beginning of the summer. There was that exuberance coming out of the NFL draft with the lifting of a lot of the public health restrictions, with the success of the vaccine, the successful distribution of the vaccine. There was a great deal of exuberance at the beginning of the summer. And then, we of course encountered the Delta variant, and that certainly slowed things down a little bit. But we started last month publishing what will become a monthly recovery report. And hopefully some of you have seen the results of that. And I just wanted to share a few highlights, because I think it paints a picture of the progress that we are making in rebuilding the density and vibrancy of downtown. We're seeing increasing foot traffic. Overall foot traffic between September of 2021 and September of 2022 was 99% higher. I launched us forward a year, but it was 99% higher in September of 2021 than it was a year ago. We're seeing the steady return of office workers. We're seeing businesses investing in office space. Just yesterday, Sherwin-Williams submitted their final design plans for their corporate headquarters that will break ground very, very soon. And I can think of no better indication of where the future of work is headed than a Fortune 500 company going forward with 1 million square foot headquarters in the heart of downtown. We're seeing business and leisure travel picking up. We're seeing the return of major events, whether that's concerts, theater, or sports. The residential population continues to grow. I can sneak preview for all of you. We're putting together our third quarter market update, and our occupancy levels are now higher than at any point they've been since before the pandemic. We feel very good about that. And we're seeing more and more construction and development projects being planned, the development pipeline continuing to fill. And again, I think one of the greatest indicators of where we're headed as a downtown is how investment decisions are being made. And I'm happy to say that, we're continuing to see more and more development investments move forward. But we know that recovery can't be expected to continue on its own. We're trying to do everything we can to accelerate that recovery. And I wanted to share a couple of the things that we're focused on right now before pivoting to some of the things that we're going to be focusing on more long term. We've really, at the start of the summer, launched a 3-part plan to try to accelerate our recovery over the course of the next year. We're focused on enhancing the quality of life in downtown and the pedestrian experience, restoring downtown's vibrancy, and really getting back to offense on business and resident attraction. I want to elaborate real briefly on each of those. When it comes to enhancing the quality of life and the pedestrian experience for everyone, we know that downtown's vitality really begins with a clean, safe, and welcoming foundation. We've been focused on increasing the visibility and mobility and responsiveness of our clean, safe, and welcoming ambassadors. We piloted a co-responder project with MedWorks over the summer that we will be looking to build off of. In the pilot project, we partnered ambassadors with outreach specialists who had training in dealing with crises related to mental health and addiction. And we had a good experience with that pilot project. And again, that's something that we're looking to build off of. We really want to make what we do in downtown a model for how we interact with the unsheltered population and with people who are in need of services for mental health and addiction. We're working to restore downtown's vibrancy to make it really an exciting, beloved place to be. We know that to bring office workers back, to continue to grow the residential population, to bring visitors to downtown, now more than ever, we need to create a really exciting, compelling experience that leads people to want to leave their Zoom screen and in the convenience of their home to come down and experience what downtown has to offer. So that's going to be a big piece of what we continue to work on this year and beyond. And then I mentioned going back on offense and attracting businesses. We're really focused on trying to combine data analysis and storytelling to attract retail and office business and talent that may be working remotely to downtown. And again, if you look at our market updates, the way we're evolving those, the recovery reports that we're publishing, those are early examples of where we're headed to try to really capture and tell the story of what downtown Cleveland has to offer. I want to close before we open it up for questions by just talking a little bit about the vision for where we head beyond the pandemic. I think our plan is really about getting us back to where we were at the start of the pandemic, but we know that's not going to be enough. At its heart, what we need to focus on is reconcentrating jobs and economic activity in the core. As a city, as a region, we've allowed population and jobs to sprawl ever farther away from the city core. And we know that more than anything, as a downtown organization, as a city building organization, we need to work with all of our partners to make sure that we're reversing that trend and bringing economic activity back to the core. Why? A couple of reasons. It's inherently more equitable. We don't talk about this enough in this community. More people will have more access to more jobs if they don't need access to a car. That's the second highest expense for most households. We already have the largest concentration of jobs in the state of Ohio and downtown. We actually have the fourth highest concentration of jobs down the street at University Circle. Let's build on that strong core, which also happens to have very strong transit access to make sure that people have more equitable access to jobs. For the very same reasons, it's inherently more environmentally sustainable. Again, city jobs are simply more accessible by walking, biking, or taking transit. And that's what we need to focus on. And finally, it's also the key to developing, retaining, and attracting talent. We wring our hands over talent attraction and retention issues in this community over and over again, when the answers of what works are staring us right in the face in our own community. We can look at the neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland that are attracting talent, and they're no different than the neighborhoods that are attracting talent across North America and really around the world. Walkable, vibrant, transit-oriented, 15-minute neighborhoods where people can easily meet their daily needs within a short walk or bike ride. Those are the kinds of places that are attracting talent. We have the bones to do it here. We have the beginnings of success here. We need to double down on those opportunities to achieve them. And I think we have a tremendous opportunity to do just that. I go back to my opening remarks about the leadership changes and the generational change taking place in our community. If you combine that with the federal resources that are becoming available through the American Rescue Plan, for the recently enacted infrastructure bill, and the potential for additional infrastructure support to come from the federal government, I'm one of those people that has often said legacy cities like Cleveland really need a Marshall Plan to get us to where we want to be. We now have Marshall Plan-like resources coming into our city. We've got a new generation of leadership that can work together to strategize and align those resources. And what we really need to do now is work together to create a plan, a blueprint that is worthy of those Marshall Plan-like resources to truly transform our city into that diverse, inclusive, welcoming beacon of talent that we all know it can be. I'm excited about the opportunity I have in my role at the Alliance. I'm excited about the opportunity to work with all of you, and tremendously excited about the new leadership that's coming in to City Hall in January. I think we've got a great, really once in a lifetime opportunity to have an impact on our city. And I look forward to working with all of you to have that impact and really transform Cleveland. With that, I conclude my prepared remarks, and Mary Ann, turn it back over to you and the audience for any questions or discussion.
Great, Michael. We have had some questions come in. So we will start. You mentioned with the new leadership coming into town and Mayor-elect Bibb, what are some of the first agenda items that you would have in working with him? What are some of those priorities as he takes office?
Yeah, I think it's a big job, because I think there are a lot of pent up priorities that a lot of us have. I think that, one of the things that we can do early on, and I'm looking forward to working with the new administration on, is something I mentioned in my remarks, and it's really building a different model of law enforcement that's improves and strengthens the relationship between the community and law enforcement. And I think one of the paths we can do that on is around creating a model, co-responder model in downtown that can then be used in other parts of the city. I think we've got the makings of it now with the way that our ambassadors work with housing and mental health outreach specialists and work hand in glove with the Cleveland Police. I think it's a softer, more engaging safety presence that we have in downtown than we may have in other parts of the city. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to working with the mayor to build on and hopefully replicate in other parts of the city. I think the biggest priority is really to develop a plan to align the resources that are coming in from the federal government on improving neighborhoods, really, at least from a downtown perspective, investing in the pedestrian experience, investing in bicycle infrastructure, improving public transportation access, because I think it's those investments in place, investments in the built environment, the pedestrian experience, that are going to allow us to, kind of accelerate our success in attracting talent and economic activity back to the core.
How critical is the realization of the Browns vision for the waterfront to Cleveland's success? And how does that project work with the initiatives of Bedrock on the river and the Scranton Peninsula redevelopment?
I think it's very important, and I think we have an exciting opportunity in front of us because we've got a compelling lakefront plan, a compelling riverfront plan, and the opportunity to really connect the dots between them. And I've always been interested in the land bridge concept, but it was always one of those things that, from my perspective, it looked great on paper, looked really expensive on paper. How do you go about financing something like that? And while I don't want to say money is no object right now, there are a lot of federal resources coming in. A lot of that is devoted towards infrastructure. So I think there's a real opportunity to find a path forward on financing a development like that. And same for the riverfront. I think the key with both of those is not just getting them done, but getting them done in a way that connects to the rest of the urban fabric, that creates a north-south connection that really, it's an inviting pedestrian-friendly walk from the lakefront to the riverfront that connects to our neighborhoods to the east and west. You're going to hear this phrase from me over and over again. Mary Ann talked about it in her kind introduction, a seamless urban fabric. And I think the vision for the valley, the plans around the lakefront create an opportunity for us to build out our lakefronts, but also connect the urban fabric in between.
So you've mentioned a lot of data that you focus on. So the question is, what kind of data analysis are you focusing on? What factors are the most compelling? And there was a question to clarify the stat you noted about foot traffic from 2020 to 2021, and how is foot traffic measured?
Yeah, great question. We're working through a database called Placer that tracks cell phone movements and the metadata that all of our cell phones put off. Anybody who thinks that the microchip is in the vaccine, it's not. It's in the phone. Trust me. And then they have fairly complex algorithms that make estimates based on how many people actually have cell phones, how many don't, and we look at the geography of downtown and how many people spent at least 7 minutes in that geography, and that's so when we talk about a 99% increase in foot traffic year over year, we're looking at that metadata based on cell phone movements, and it continues to rise. So I think when we put out next month's report, we'll see a higher increase. And the other thing that we're going to start doing is comparing to pre-pandemic levels, so we really get a picture of not just where we are year over year. We know things have improved year over year. We want to give ourselves a clear benchmark as to where we are compared to pre-pandemic levels. I think foot traffic is an important metric, though. Downtowns and cities thrive on density. They thrive on being able to bring people together. And foot traffic, I think, is a really strong indicator of how well we're doing at restoring and building our density.
Having a sense of what are current numbers around downtown residents versus workers, regardless of remote or not, and kind of curious how that compares to pre-pandemic time.
Yeah, the residential numbers are a little bit easier for us to track. We track apartment occupancy on a quarterly basis and are able to make population estimates as a result. We reached our long time goal of 20,000 residents early this year. We missed our goal by a couple of months. Our goal of the last 4 or 5 years had been to hit 20,000 residents by the end of 2020. It took us to the early part of 2021. We'll blame the pandemic for that one, but it felt pretty good that we only missed the goal by a couple of months in light of the pandemic. With workers, I mentioned prior to the pandemic, we had the largest concentration of jobs in the state of Ohio. We had just over 100,000 workers in downtown Cleveland on a daily basis. That's hard to track right now. We're looking at Placer data. We are looking at card swipes coming into office towers, and we think on any given day about 50 to 60% of the downtown workforce is here. We've done some surveying of office businesses, and the overwhelming majority seem to have people coming back at least a few times a week. We're not hearing a lot of instances in downtown Cleveland of offices going completely remote. It's more about staggered schedules and greater flexibility.
So what additional efforts might you be involved with in trying to create more jobs or attract more companies to have their headquarters, have their offices in downtown?
Yeah, well, we work very closely with the Greater Cleveland Partnership and TNEO and Jobs Ohio, also the city and county. And I think one of the opportunities with the leadership change that we're having is it's probably an opportunity to step back and look at how we can collaborate even better and more closely. I can give you a couple of examples. Over the summer, we partnered with TNEO on a marketing campaign directed at the Erie View Historic District. We worked with the State Historic Preservation Office and the National Park Service over the course of the last couple of years to designate the urban renewal area between 9th and 12th and Chester and Lakeside as an historic district. So, 20 some of those buildings now are eligible for state and federal historic tax credits, which in this environment of greater work flexibility and the potential for decreased demand of office space, having those tools available to more buildings to be able to convert them to newer purposes is helpful and valuable. So we partnered with TNEO on a campaign to market that district, the investment opportunities and the business attraction opportunities that exist there. We'll continue to invest in marketing strategies like that. But I think an important way to answer that question is the best marketing in the world is your hometown Fortune 500 company going forward with a global corporate headquarters in the heart of your central business district. I think when that Sherwin-Williams project breaks ground and moves forward, that's going to be our best business attraction asset because nothing can really signal better than that what a strong city we have in terms of talent attraction, in terms of place, and in terms of business environment. So we'll be working with all of our partners to really capitalize on that project moving forward.
So, and as you look ahead, what is your vision for downtown, say in the next 5 years?
Well, we really need to weave the urban fabric and pedestrian experience of downtown into a seamless garment. We historically do a nice job in the city and as a downtown of doing the big projects. And it's funny because when I started at the Alliance 10 years ago, a lot of folks in our community said the same thing. We did a great job in the 90s of doing big projects and not a great job of connecting the dots. We did a great job 10 years ago of doing big projects, but not really weaving that seamless urban fabric, that really compelling, lovable pedestrian experience that draws people in, that makes people want to be here. And my vision for downtown over the next 5 years is, we don't just do the infill development. We don't just build on surface parking lots. We don't just do our lakefront and riverfront development, but we really pay attention to the details of our sidewalk experience, the streetscape, the lighting, the bike infrastructure, the transit. Those things are going to be what takes our business and talent attraction to the next level.
Michael, we have time for one more question. And as we are heading into the Thanksgiving long weekend and into December, we are looking forward to the lights returning to Public Square. So can you share some plans around the Winterfest and what we can expect as we head into next week?
It is exciting. It's hard to believe it's already that time. And we're looking forward to having a big crowd back on Public Square for Winterfest this year. We had a smaller celebration last year. We did a broadcast with WKYC last year in light of the pandemic so that folks around the city and region could enjoy the downtown winter festivities, even as we were still a little bit hunkered down in light of the pandemic. This year, we're building on that strategy. We're working once again with WKYC, where we'll have a broadcast that will be shown at Winterfest. It will also be broadcast on Saturday, November 27th. But more importantly, we'll have Public Square animated from noon until 8 with an escalating series of activities over the course of the day, of course, all culminating with the lighting of the square, the lighting of our downtown holiday tree, and we'll conclude with a fireworks celebration. We'll have activities really from Public Square to Playhouse Square, where we'll have carriage rides throughout the afternoon to kick off the Winterfest season. And for us this year, it really is kicking off a Winterfest season. It's not just about the Saturday after Thanksgiving. It's about building a four-season downtown and a four-season city, and encouraging, everybody comes downtown, not just on the Saturday after Thanksgiving to see the holiday lights. They come down throughout the season to see the lights on Public Square. And we want folks to not just come down and drive around and look at the lights or walk through the square and look at the lights. We want them to make an evening of it. We want them to make a weekend out of it. So we're going to be working with all of our partners to plan and promote a series of events throughout the holidays and into the early part of winter, all leading into the NBA All-Star Game in February, to really embrace the four seasons and make Winterfest a season-long experience in downtown. You can read all about it at downtowncleveland.com. Shameless plug.
Well, Michael, we thank you so much, and we look forward to getting back downtown and seeing all the festivities over the next few weeks. And I'm going to turn it back to Mary Ann.
Thanks, Rachel. Well, Michael, I'm looking forward to a four-season Winterfest, as long as it does not include winter in it. Be able to enjoy
Embrace the four seasons.
Right. Thank you so much. We appreciate your sharing your vision for downtown, and I know everyone on this call is standing ready to help you to realize it.